Let's bring in Simon Banks, now former Labor advisor and Managing Director at Hawker Britain, and Kerry Chikarovski, former New South Wales Liberal leader. Great to see you both. Kerry, with the Jobs Summit this week, expectations are high, but already some sign of some progress being made with the Council of Small Business and the ACTU agreeing to a bit of compromise on multi-employer bargaining. What's your read on things at the start of the week?
Well, I think it's heading in the right direction for the Prime Minister, but I think the issue he's got is that he does have to manage those expectations as to what the summit will actually produce. I know that there is a view amongst some Labor people that this is going to be, the Accord Mark II. It's a pretty high standard to actually be, seeking to achieve. But the good thing for the Prime Minister is that there is a lot of goodwill. I mean, the reality is that everybody who is involved in business in this country, whether you're a small business, a large business, whether you're a union, we're all after the same thing, and that is to ensure that people continue in jobs, that they get paid more, and that productivity increases. So if we go into the summit, or if the Prime Minister goes into the summit with that goodwill and those intentions, then I think he'll do okay. The problem will be is if he's seen to be too much on one side or the other. And of course, there will be those out there in the commentariat, and I don't need to tell you who they are, who will be saying that he goes into the summit too much on the side of the unions. I think he's got a fairly good balancing act that he can achieve, though, because I think he's already talking about fairness to both sides. So it'll be interesting to watch.
Simon, what's your read on it after the Prime Minister's address today marking 100 days in office?
Yeah, look, I think the whole tone of Anthony Albanese's address today was that people need to compromise and work together, and that the changes that come from that may not be what everyone wants, but after a decade of inaction, there's a real chance of some progress here. And as Kerry said, the deal that's being talked about between the ACTU and the Council of Small Business gives some flexibility on the bargaining side of the equation, and we all know that basically trying to get an industrial bargain through the Fair Work Commission has become sort of nigh on impossible, both for employees and for workers. On the flip side, it looks like there might be a little bit of flexibility about the better off overall test. Still a mechanism that protects the circumstances of every individual worker, but rather than trying to stop deals in the first place, putting, if you like, a safety net protection after a deal is made, just to make sure that no worker is in fact worse off. Yeah. That seems a pretty pragmatic set of compromises. I think it will start to see a difference in the sort of the bargaining and cooperation. And more importantly, I think, if we can build that spirit of cooperation through the conference, yes, we might see some modest changes this first time round, but if we can build confidence in that process, if we can get people back to talking to one another in a civil and reasonable tone, like, for example, we saw with Jennifer Westacott and Sally McManus on the weekend, well, then actually we'll get more and more done over time.